Hi, my name is Shubashish, and I am from a place called Jabalpur, which is in the state of Madhya Pradesh. All throughout my life, I have been in different places, and recently, right now, I'm based out of Gurgaon, and I'm working as a digital marketing and research team lead, leading a team of 21 for Google Operations Center. We take care of the optimization of the accounts for the large customer sales advertisers for Google in the Canada region. And before that, I was working with Accenture for about 5 years, in which I got two promotions, and I began my career in digital marketing with Hive Minds Innovative Market Solutions at Bangalore. And prior to that, I was working with a local construction company in my hometown, which is Jabalpur, for about 2 years. And I'm planning to do my MBA to pivot into a product manager role and uh, create awesome products. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. I was associated with Byju's for a long, long time. In fact, while I was graduating, I came to know about Byju's when I attended the class at Bangalore. I was really impressed by the way, things were done, and by the way, uh, uh, Baiju used to teach the students. It was just uh, mind-boggling to see so many students learning at the same time. The halls were used to be completely uh, full with students, about 1,000 at a time. So it kind of created a lot of anxiety and kind of interest in terms of understanding why is this person so celebrated across Bangalore, especially at that point in time. And that kind of triggered that interest in me to understand more about Byju's. And while I attended the demo class, after that I went back home. I figured out a few videos on YouTube about how to solve different questions, and I was impressed by the way in which those questions were solved. So that kind of triggered my interest in Byju's to begin with, as far as the preparation is concerned. And then since Career Lab was part of Byju's, and back then when it was, I think, admission consulting services from Byju's, I kind of enrolled in. However, since my score was not great, I kind of continued to push the services to the next year. uh, I think I did it twice, 2019 and then 20. And because of that, I, worked it out this year, 2021. And, since I scored really good because of a greater score, because of a greater preparation while being at home, because work from home had been really a blessing for me in terms of learning and in terms of increasing my quantitative and verbal abilities. So with that, the scores really improved to a greater extent, and I was able to, uh, you know, then think about it clearly, right? What schools I want to target, and uh, how do I go about the journey. So that's how I was associated with CareerLabs. So I have always thought of doing an MBA, right? Even since I was, and since the time I was doing my graduation, I always wanted to do a postgrad. And my wife, coincidentally, is an MBA. And because of that, I always felt like I should also do my MBA. That's my personal aspect. As far as the logical and professional aspect of it is concerned, I think I've seen that MBAs are much more logical in terms of business decisions, right? And as and when you grow older and when you rise up the career ladder, you need to have that business acumen to take those decisions, right? Because of that, I've always felt that there's something missing in my profile. There's something missing in terms of the knowledge. While I had been reading a lot of stuff over the internet and other resources, but I think an MBA does give you that edge to do well in your career. which is why I think I always felt of going for an MBA. So, and now after being in the industry for a long time, I think I realize that after working with people, after leading teams, it is essential for me to now take the softer aspects, also learn the business, 360 degree from engineering, finance, marketing, operations, HR, and all those business aspects. I can only learn all these aspects by doing an MBA. It gives me a global perspective as well, because when I would be part of an MBA program, I would be interacting with a lot of people coming in from many nationalities and countries, right? So that's definitely gonna give me a different perspective. While right now I've worked with Indian uh, companies and Indian customers and consumers, I would definitely want to have an international aspect for my career, and I think MBA would be a good platform for me to be able to do that. So that's the reason why I want to do an MBA. So in terms of the business acumen, right? MBA would be an important aspect because it's gonna give me a lot of information about how the overall role is taken care of. For example, if you talk about product management, right? There are classes which are about product management. So there's product management 101, 201, and so on and so forth. Those are going to give me the insights of what is going on in the market, how the current product managers who've been tenured and now veterans have done that. They will also allow me to figure out the best practices that they have followed, probably the challenges they have come across with, and with that I'll be able to kind of adapt the best practices, and obviously the learning from those case studies, right? So this is gonna definitely help me in terms of growing intellectually, so that whenever there's a similar problem coming up my way in my career, in a product manager role, I'll be able to definitely do well in that case. So an MBA would definitely prepare me both in terms of leadership skills, which is already there, but it's gonna improve it to a different level altogether, because I'll be working with a lot of multicultural, multidimensional, and people coming from across the world. And in terms of intellect, right, I'll be able to interact with people from the top uh, uh, intellectual levels across the world. Definitely. So I think the way Kritika explains things, it's awesome, because she kinds of boils it down to the point at which you get the logic behind it. And for me, that is the most important aspect, because unless you understand something, like why are you doing something, it becomes really difficult for me to digest and kind of act upon. So the way Kritika explained each and everything was awesome, and then kind of helped me to work on each of those aspects in the manner I was supposed to do. Uh, and I think in terms of the profile gap, she had multiple calls with me in which she told me that I'm lagging on certain aspects, and how can I improve on those aspects. So overall, with those tailor-made solutions, I was able to kind of overcome most of them, if not all. But I think in the way she explained it to me was the most important aspect and most influential aspect of the whole process. I think it was very personalized, because it kind of gave me exactly what I wanted. So, for example, I was lagging in terms of the volunteer experience, and in that case, uh, CareerLabs came in handy, and then kind of helped me with, kind of allowed me to connect with one of the NGOs who I'm working with right now, and which was missing in my profile. So I think it was a great learning, and overall, what I could have done before, they helped me in terms of improving that aspect. So yes, I think that's how it was tailor made for me. So I think it was good. It uh, allowed me to figure out uh, nitty gritties of what is required to have a resume, or what is required to have uh, you know a great story to apply to a B school. And you know like I said, it really helps if in case you understand the logic, right? Why is somebody asking for something? So the star L method of explaining your story, kind of sharing your narrative with the others, is a definitely much better way of doing things, as against just stating your story, right, without any impact coming out, right, or probably not arranged in a manner which is much more impactful. So the star L method throughout this whole process was really helpful, not only in terms of uh, the application or the essays, but also in terms of the interview. So this whole thing helped me out in terms of uh, structuring my stories, structuring each and everything, even from resume's perspective, right? The resume also talked about the impact that I have created and how it was impactful for the organization or for the teams that I worked with. Like they say that for a 10-year experience, right, it's supposed to be in one page. So one page would be equivalent to a 10 years experience. And that's what I've learned, right? I was really um, you know intimidated initially to figure out, right, that everything needs to be now uh, compressed in one document or one page, which initially was a challenge. But after iterations of working on the same document for a long time and multiple times, I was able to come up with a document which was much more crisp and much more impactful in even in one page, considering my experience, which is higher than the usual experience of the candidates. So it was different, definitely, in terms of the job uh, you know paradigm. It's different to have two pages of resume, while in case of the business school, you will need to come up with of one page of resume. So I think it was definitely a challenging ask to begin with, but I think after a while, after you continue to work on it, it becomes easier. I attended the strategy sessions, and while it is suggested to have different categories of schools selected while you're applying to B schools, but my goal was always to get into one of the top ones, right? So, which is why I did not apply to the safer options in round one, but my strategy would change now in round two, because I don't have a current offer at this point in time. Having said that, I think it's also on dependent on how you want to perceive your MBA applications. If you're okay in applying to one of our safer schools and get an admit there with a scholarship, versus get an admit from a top school, maybe Kellogg or a Harvard or a Wharton or maybe Stanford. So for me, it was one major factor in my school selection. It was that I would want to get into one of the top B schools, because of which I did not apply to the safer schools, or probably the lower ranked schools. But then, like it's mentioned and like it's called out, right? It's a lot of uh, uh, haziness, right? There's a lot of haziness in terms of the business school selections. So while you will prepare your best, I kind of gave a lot of uh, time and efforts in terms of researching about these schools. but a lot of candidates, a lot of top candidates, right? Very, very uh, strong profiles. They do apply to these B schools, and also considering the age factor, I think that's one reason because of which I was not able to make it. Having said that, I think you need to have different options open. You need to have those uh, safer options also available, just in case you really want to do your MBA from outside. After you do your MBA, I think once you get into a job, uh, uh, it doesn't really matter, as people say. But for people like me, I always wanted to get one good alma mater or educational institute in my profile, so that I can relish it throughout my life. I've gotten response from Harvard, Wharton. Those were straightforward rejects. I got a response after the day I applied to Kellogg. I got an interview invite, and the interview was awesome. And while I'm waitlisted right now, I'm hoping that one day I'll have a convert for Kellogg. It is my dream school. It has always been my dream school. So Kellogg is something which I'm really, really looking forward to. Apart from that, I applied to Haas. Haas, uh, like I mentioned, it requires a lot of effort and investment, right? To be honest, I feel that I kind of did not uh, invest so much in Haas because I was busy investing time and effort on the other three, Harvard, Wharton, and Kellogg. And because of that, I think Haas was slightly weaker in terms of application, and because of which I not received any input from their side till now, and I don't think that there would be any response till I think the 14th or the 15th, when they're gonna release their decisions. Um, I was planning to apply to Columbia, but then because it was on the very last day, right? I kind of read before applying to Columbia that it looks like that you taking Columbia for granted, and which can actually go against you, because Columbia is a very, very selective school in terms of the applications. So I then decided not to apply to Columbia back then, but I'm now considering to apply to Columbia. Some of the other B schools include Michigan Ross, um, NYU Tech MBA, and Cornell Tech MBA, if in case I go. I think I would be applying to Cornell as well, Cornell Tech MBA, because it aligns with my goals. I started preparing back in 2014, if I'm not wrong, right? But it was all on and off, right? I started preparing 2014, but because I was doing a job in a startup, it was not very conducive for me to take out time during the weekdays and even on the weekends, right? Because I used to stay alone, and most of the times I used to go out with family members or friends. So it was not as impactful a time in which I could have invested more, but didn't work out that time. Continued working uh, slowly and gradually, kind of invested a little bit more time over the years. 2015, 16, I think 15 is when I appeared for GMAT for the first attempt, and kind of got a 580. And after that, I was heartbroken, kind of paused my preparation for a bit, then regained my confidence after working for a few months, and then started working on it again. And then I got a promotion at work. So after that, I moved to Gurgaon and started working as a team lead, and was handling a team of about 20 people back then. So again, a lot of time was wasted in terms of commute, in terms of managing a lot of other things apart from work, and couldn't. I should have done few things for the preparation, but could not invest so much of time at that point in time. So with that momentum, I continued preparing, but results were not as good, right, as per the expectation. 2018 is when again I thought of preparing. So between 2017 and 2018 it was all on pause. 2018 again restarted the preparations. Uh, Again, it was very light because I used to travel a lot at that point in time. After the 2018 and 19, I think 2019 onwards, right? That's where I started investing a lot of time because I really wanted to do an MBA, and since I was coming closer to the 10 years uh, experience mark, right? That's when I started really taking things seriously and started investing more time, right? I used to go to office at I think 8:30, and I used to get up at 6 o'clock, and then I used to solve questions before going to the office. Even after coming back from office, I used to solve questions, and I used to kind of invest about 5 hours of time during the week and about 6 hours per day during the weekend. So with that, I was able to improve my uh, mock scores. And while I got to 2020, right, that's when I actually was able to significantly improve the scores. And because I was able to cut down the time on the commute, I was at home. I could, take out time for a lot of other activities. I was able to nail the advanced questions, which was out of my reach at the beginning, initially. But after investing a lot of time, after looking at the nitty gritties, also maintaining a logbook for errors, I was able to um, come up the curve and kind of score in the 99 percentile. I've been watching these interviews on YouTube, right, wherein a lot of people come in, they have great stories, right, they have a great turnaround for GMAT. I think that kind of motivated me, right, and by virtue of being an armed forces aspirant, right, there's one uh, officers like quality that people say that you should have, right, that's like perseverance, right, you should never give up. So I always thought that I should never give up, right? I have everything uh, with me. I if I continue to work on these things, I'll be able to come up the curve and obviously tame the beast, GMAT. So which is what happened after a long time. I know it's a long time, but after investing so much, uh, you know, I was able to improve significantly on both quant and verbal, because of which I've been able to get this score. It was out of this world, right? While I was scoring about 760 on the mock, I got once I got 770 as well. But this time, when I actually saw that score on the screen while I was writing the test, it was an out of the world feeling, right? And I couldn't just uh, re- kind of believe first that it's my score. Everything was uh, you know in front of me. There was a flashback of the whole 6-7 years of journey, and then I was able to kind of recollect, got my senses back, and then realized that no, this is finally happening, and I was able to get that score. So that was a great feeling, to be honest. But it took me a lot of time. At the same time, it was not easy. The journey was full of challenges, and it really requires a lot of investment. I mean, not saying this for everyone, but then for somebody coming in from not a very good schooling throughout the career, because my parents used to get uh, they were getting transferred every 2 to 3 years. So I used to also move along with them, because of which I never had a consistent learning in my school. So I think with that kind of experience, I was able to uh, achieve this feat, and I feel good about it. I think it was great. Yeah, I had a couple of interviews with Kritika, and she was, uh, you know, writing things down, calling out things after the interview was over. I think one particular interview preparation session I remember, that was with Santosh. So I think it was one of the most because I've seen Santosh long back, right? While I was part of Byju's, I was slightly intimidated initially, but then I kind of went ahead with the interview, because uh, it was, I think, very close to my D-Day, right? I had my interviews within 3 4 days of that interview. So I went ahead, and it was kind of a blind interview, right? So Santosh's camera was off, my camera was on, so I couldn't actually figure out what's going on the other side. So I was slightly panicking, and I was not in the comfort zone. I was slightly, what should I say, nervous at that point in time, and I said a lot of things which I should not have said. But I think that helped me to get the exact same points that I should have worked upon. That was, I think, uh, an alarm for me to work on those aspects, and which helped me to kind of uh, work for the next 2 to 3 days, and then do really well in terms of my actual interview at Kala. So my interviewer was really impressed by the way the interview went, and I felt very good about the interview as well. So I think overall it was good. I had an preparatory interview with Mayank, one of the Kellogg alums, and then I had an interview with Kritika, and one with Santosh. So overall, it was a good, package of uh, interviews with the three of them. Always wanted to help, people around me. Now, there was no way for me to be able to do that. In fact, I have one story in my head. I don't know how relevant that would be, but while I got selected by the Air Force, right, and while my medical examination was pending, I went to a place, and I saw a small child picking up dishes, right? And I thought, maybe, this poor fellow is uh, doing this in such a chilly weather. He was not wearing any warm clothes. He was not wearing any footwear, and he was doing that. And while all other people in that place were uh, having, they had great attires. So I felt that I should do something. In fact, so much so that I thought maybe I'll sponsor his education. Unfortunately, I couldn't uh, get through the medicals. I couldn't, you know, uh, get into the Air Force, and that whole, you know, idea of helping somebody out in education, or through, improving people's life, got dumped somewhere. So that was a burning desire which was always there. And since I got a chance to improve people's life through education with 3 to 1 Education Foundation, I was very happy to kind of, first of all, engage with them, and kind of extend their, uh, you know, uh, efforts to a larger audience across the world, across the country, and through digital channels, right? I was able to do that. I was able to improve their uh, brand awareness. I was able to also help them with getting more connects, getting more uh, leads for their partnerships with those low cost private schools. Uh, and again that's continuing. Right now I'm working with them, and I feel good about it, right? Because it's a great cause for which they're working right now, and I am also delighted to be engaged with them. So uh, I think it's a great partnership, and because it's for a great cause. If they are trying to improve the education of the country and the uh, talent of the country, the leaders who are gonna be there for the country in times to come. I think it's for a great cause. So, and I want to contribute to that cause. And with this, I'm able to contribute to that cause. So, I think one aspect that I've seen in the country, right, is that there's a lot of disparity. While the people who have uh, you know great bank balances, they're getting richer, while the people who do not have that, they're uh, more oppressed and becoming more oppressed with time, right? So I want to kind of help that cause by improving education for them, or maybe through technology in some way. Like, so for example, the industry in which I work in, right? So I work for digital marketing. Now, nobody would have thought 15 years back from now that digital marketing would be so impactful. It will create jobs for so many people. It would create business results for so many industries, so many organizations, so many small, medium scale organizations. Somebody today can actually uh, sell his uh, article uh, to a very far customer. It has been possible in by the advancement in technology, right? And there are so many people who are still missing out, who don't know that these things exist. They have not never tried it. We have seen people doing social media, things have improved, uh, and similarly, the paid marketing on the other front side, Google Ads is one of them. I feel that I would want to uh, impact the lives of millions of people across the globe by coming up with some of these uh, products, right? Similar products, maybe not some of these products because they're already in existence. Probably some enhancement to these products, or a completely new product altogether, which can help people to uh, improve their lives in in terms of education, in terms of the way they live, in terms of the way they do so many things on a day-to-day basis. So that's what my plan is, and that's what keeps me motivated towards working towards my goal of becoming a product manager. Say that GMAT is one um, tick box, right? While even I would have freaked about it, right? That GMAT score is something which is supposed to be taken care of, and most of my time went into preparing for GMAT. The That's one level of clearance, right? You need to then clear different stages, right? Which includes your essays, your research about the school, and the way you connect with the alums, the way you connect with the admission teams, and so on and so forth, right? So, which is why it is not the only aspect for your MBA journey. And I think that's what people should remember always, that GMAT is not the only step that you need to take towards your goal of reaching to an MBA program or a B school. And apart from that, the second aspect that I've learned over a period of time is that you need to be natural, you need to be genuine, right? If you have a cause, you need to actually share those personal bonding with those causes, right? So only then you will be able to correlate that this is my goal, this is where I stand, this is the gap, and this is how the MBA can help me bridging that gap, and I'll be able to live up to my goals and dreams.